Okay, Westfield. Gosh, I have such mixed emotions about Westfield. You know, I love it, but it has been a little bit saturated. And look at those. I'm going to just go straight to the terrible number on the board, which is days on the market. That is 75. I think that's the highest of all the ones that we're going to report today, and that is a shockingly high number. That
It's
is
down month
not.
over month, Mike. It's
Yeah,
down
I
month
know,
over
down
month
1%.
by a day.
Woohoo! Heading in the right direction. But look at the rental price continues to go up despite the fact that we've got 75 days on the market. Month over month, rent is up 8%. It's up 2% year over year. And I mean, I remember we doing these market reports. I think it was $1,600. I mean, it has just gone through the roof. I don't know. I think long term, it's a great market. But anyway, number of active homes 62. That's actually down, which is great news. Hopefully, that will then subsequently drive that days on the market down over the next couple of months. Average rental price continues to go up on a tear, $2,700 a month, unreal. Average days on the market, we talked about that, 75. That is obnoxiously high. So you got to be realistic about, you do not want to have an investment home and to have 75 days on the market, especially in March, April, and May. That is going to kill you. So be thoughtful about how you price your homes, because you do not want to have 75 days on the market for sure.
Yeah.
Average price per square foot for single family homes, $1.15. Just real briefly, apartments, there's 25 available. I mean, significantly less. Look at that, $1,000 is almost less per month at $1,781. Price per square foot for the apartments is $178. And then actually, this is kind of interesting. The townhouses / condos, 23, and pretty significantly less than the single family homes at 2,050. If I remember a couple months ago, that gap was a lot closer. And so I'm not sure what's going on there. If it's a race to the bottom, but look, there's a lot of townhomes and condos on the market in relative to single family homes. There's 59 townhomes and condos, and there's 75 single family homes. Usually on all the other ones, these other ones, it's like a fraction of the homes on the market versus the townhomes and condos. So I don't know. We could maybe just do a deep dive on that one time, but that's definitely worth noticing and definitely worth thinking about. And that seems like an awful lot of townhomes and condos. And maybe we haven't done a deep dive on the townhomes and condos, but I would suspect that it's maybe a bit of a race to the bottom in terms of pricing with that many on the market.
I think we did. Didn't we do that a couple podcasts ago where I'm pretty sure we did. We dove into.
Was it in Westfield? Yeah. It was.
Yeah, because we had so many clients with condos there, and we really wanted to dive into why we were educating our owners on having to reduce their prices because there was so much competition. Now we talked about stability here a couple markets ago, and honestly, I think a lot of this data here in Westfield is artificial. I really do, and I believe that's because there is so much new construction. There's so much competition that's happening here in the Westfield area. They may be popping them up more popping up in Westfield than any other community that I'm aware of here, because the condos they're throwing them up left and right. And we did see, because I think we were the early breakers when we did that deep dive, that condo prices were going to start to come home and come home. And then the following month, I think that's exactly what and I could be making all of this up. You're going to have to go back yourself and check to see if I'm making all this up or not. But I think the following month, we saw prices come down on the condos. Now we're seeing that stabilize a little bit because right around 2,000 is exactly where I would be telling my owners to be pricing their condo, right around 1995, to be honest. But I immediately acknowledged the number of condos to the number of single family homes here in the Westfield market. I'm gonna continue to watch this. I believe that the average rental price is continuing to tick up. I mean, at $2,700, that's $200 more than we saw the previous month. I think that is probably owners trying to cover their costs on new construction or new acquisitions. I really believe that's what it is. I believe that's going to come down a little bit or stabilize at least. But to see that kind of jump month over month in this market, when you're seeing an average days on market at 75, that to me clearly indicates that average rental price ticking up $200 is artificial because you're seeing 75 days on the freaking market.
I know, but look at the bottom left graphic, single family homes, and you're getting a sneak peek into April, and you're over $2,800. I mean, of course it's early and you don't know, but it just continues to to go up. You know what I mean? It's almost like everybody's agreeing not to cut their prices. Like, we'll just take the days
Yeah.
on the market and we're not cutting our prices, you know? Weird.
Yeah, until things begin to stabilize a little bit. I honestly, I mean, I have those conversations with owners, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
convince them to lower their price, and they think I'm an idiot, and I can't do if I'm requesting them to lower their price, then I must not be in tune with what's going on in the current market. So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I am. So that's where we are.
Yeah.
That's my take on Westfield. And excuse Mike's cough here and there. The man is recovering from pneumonia, so give the man a break.
That is a true story. That is a true story.
All right, let's get in before my buds completely die out on me. Let's get into the sales data.
Let's do Westfield sales market. All right. Average days on the market. Look at that, up pretty substantially, both month over month and year over year. So 54 is where we stand now, but that's up almost 30% month over month, 18%, 17% year over year. But what's interesting is if we jump over to number of homes sold, that continues to go up. Not quite as drastically as we've seen in some of the other areas month over month, but 12% is pretty significant. But I would argue that you could probably say that's seasonality. And then it is up slightly year over year for a whole total of 75 homes sold. Average sales price, again, this is ticking up. Look at this, up 5% year over year and 3.5%, opposite, 5% month over month and 3.5% year over year. So for an average of 376, 736, which is an average price per square foot of 187, which is up year over year, down month over month. Average sales price over time looks like we had a bit of a blip there in February, but looks like it's following the 2024 trend, which makes sense because that's roughly bottoming out in January and February, and then peaking in June and July, which is typically what you would see. So I would imagine more of the same. But to Chris's point before, there's so much building out there. There's so much going on. It is hard to tell with these, and of course, all the builder data doesn't necessarily show in here. But I would think that we're going to continue to see that slowly creep up as time passes and we get into the selling season here. Bottom right, number of homes sold. This just kind of shows you how the homes are distributed. And Westfield at this point is probably not a value play like you might think of other homes. It's more of a stability play, but there are still homes. I mean, quite a bit of them, almost 150 plus under 300,000. So they're definitely still there. I always look in the Westfield market, and I could tell you that there's homes right at that, really nice homes right at that 300,000 mark still that would make great rentals. So they're there. You don't have to spend 376 or 476 or even 350. You can definitely find good homes in that kind of like 300,000 ish range. So overall, pretty good news really for the Westfield sales market.
Yeah, I would say this is just an assumption and based off no actual data, but I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, the condos are going to be baked into that number of homes sold, right? So I would suspect that in that lower price point, that might be a lot of those condos that are popping up over there. That are going to be 250, 300,000.
See, I feel like those condos are the ones that I'm thinking of anyway, tend to be a little bit higher end. I mean, more like the 350 to 500. The ones that I'm thinking of in that 300,000 range are smaller ranch homes, maybe a little bit older, built in like, early 90s, late 90s, maybe somewhere between 1,400 and 1,700 square foot, smaller-ish home. Those are the ones that I'm thinking of that kind of hover around that 300,000.
Yeah, those are the gold ones if you can find it. And
those are good rentals.
This is a farm community that's quickly turning into the Carmel sister for sure. If you're looking at this market, you're not unwise for doing so. There is so much going on in youth sports in the Westfield market that is going to propel this place into just a gold mine, I think. So I think there is so much value in investing in Westfield, and that's why we continue to keep it part of our rental analysis, is because there's so much opportunity here in Westfield that's not always indicated in the numbers, which is why you want to listen to more than just the numbers. You want to listen to local insights, which is exactly what we're trying to provide.
Yep.